Welcome back to Boruto Anime Review. This is episode number 33. This one is a Super Beast Scroll Slump. Yep, this is an episode focused on Inogen. I would say definitely he's one of my favorite characters from the current generation. I would say currently my favorite overall character, aside from Boruto, I could say it could be... I would say it would be Rock. It would be Mentally because he doesn't really appear all that very much. I would say someone close. I would say Sadara. I really enjoy the character. But she doesn't really do very much in this episode. Heck, Boruto doesn't do very much in this episode. Yeah, whenever we focus on other characters in the series, Boruto doesn't really do all that much, except for like one scene the whole episode. And in this episode, basically, Inogen is having trouble figure out what's wrong, why he can't do Super Beast Scroll anymore. Of course, he finds out later the reason why. And now I kind of knew from the trailer that I saw last week that Ina was going to be in this episode, and she did. She appeared for a few scenes. You didn't see all that much. It looked like I got a little bit close look at her. Last time you saw her in the series, you didn't get exactly a good look at her. It looks like she put on a tiny bit of weight, a little bit of weight since she's still smoking hot. Don't get me wrong, she's still smoking hot like she usually is. She put on a little bit of weight. I'd say maybe a few pounds, maybe because of giving birth to the Inogen. That could be the reason why. And she the way it looks for her current attire, it looks like her the outfit from the last says she's still wearing after all this time. Yeah, she's still wearing that very same attire. Unlike everybody else who's pretty much gone to different looks, Ino, for some reason, is still wearing the same exact outfit. Yeah, I'm not kidding. She's wearing the same exact outfit after all this time. Of course, at this point, it's only been, 13 years since the last, and she's still wearing the same outfit. And everybody else has pretty much started to wear different outfits. I mean, Sai is basically wearing the second overall outfit he wore in the entire franchise. Because if you notice in the series, sometimes he wore like a half shirt, basically to show off his belly. And the first time he kind of wore an alternate outfit, basically, was during Naruto Hinata's wedding. But as for regular outfit, basically, this series is basically, I mean, if you look at his current attire, it's the same exact attire he's always wearing, except he wears a longer shirt. That's really the only difference that they made to his attire, is that his shirt is much more longer, covers up more of him. Yeah. But basically, and of course, I still critique of why in the world that Inogen is wearing overalls. I still think that's a little odd for him to wear. I mean, when you saw him in the day Naruto became Hokage short, he was wearing similar clothes to that of his father. And yet here he's wearing overalls and a hoodie without the string in it. Yeah, and of course he still has a sword on his back, which is something his father always did. I'm glad the fact he carries around the sword with him. He never uses it, by the way. Yeah, he never used it. But I still think it's odd that his outfit is simply put a hoodie with overalls. White overalls, mind you. Yeah, it's a little odd of artistic choice. I would have thought maybe he'd gone a little bit of purple. The overalls are not purple. They're kind of like whitish purple. Yeah. So he's trying to figure out what he's supposed to do, and so he enters a drawing contest. He loses to Hiwambi, Boruto's sister. Yep, she appears in this episode. She was a bit of a surprise. Heck, Naruto, I'm not all that surprised. I mean, for him, I think the last time I physically saw him in the series was basically at the start of the Hit and Miss arc. But it's nice the fact Naruto shows up for a cameo now and again. Because even though, yes, the series is called Boruto Naruto Next Generations, he does occasionally show up. He doesn't have to show up all the time because it's not his series. It's a series focused on his son and his friends' children. So he doesn't necessarily show up all the time. As long as he show up once in a while, we're perfectly fine. Yep. And then later on, because of course they had Sai, basically, they had a couple times Sai in the classroom. First time, basically, because apparently Shino asked him earlier to be a guest lecturer. Okay, so we've had Konohamaru, Sai. Let me think. Who else has been a guest lecturer? I think that's it. Just those two. I'm surprised that Sai hasn't Shino hasn't asked maybe Naruto. How about his old friend Kiba, um, or even Rock Lee, or even Ten. Yeah, Ten does not show up in the series, and I'm not sure where the heck she is. Um, or any other person. Heck, I wouldn't be surprised if he has another big guest speaker, a guest lecturer. But yeah, and of course, there's also sort of a hint in this one drop, basically of there's a little bit of mention of the future upcoming episodes, even with the graduation exam, which I appreciate the fact that the dropping hit now. It's like, oh, we're having graduation exam now, so it got built up to that. Inogen basic. Oh yeah, and also Sai wanted to try out basically by drawing like a model, and who does he pick? Chocho. He says, I picked that pretty good right there. And Baruto's like, man, your dad is weird. Oh my gosh, I'm surprised he couldn't pick Susumori. And yes, Susumori is smoking hot. And yeah, he picks Chocho. Okay, fine. He does think opposite of everybody else. That's just the way he is. That's kind of how Ino fell in love with him. Despite the fact I heard that he was gonna call her ugly. He called her beautiful, and she fell in love with instantly on the spot. Yeah, it's one of the most oddest women falling in love with guy thing I have ever seen, just because he calls her beautiful. Though I was kind of expecting maybe he would call it, maybe say he'll drop, maybe he'll say that maybe in this episode, but nope. Also, Shikadai basically quotes his dad. He says, "What a drag." Which is something his father always said. Now, he hasn't said it all that much in the series. I think overall he's only said it a few times. I know his father said it a lot in the previous two shows, but I get the fact that he's like his father, but he doesn't always need to say every single episode like this is a drag or what a drag. I'm glad the fact he says it on occasion, so at least he's still imitating his dad at some point. Also, Inojin basically tries out the mind transfer jutsu, and it doesn't really work. It kind of works, but it doesn't last too long. Yeah, because he hasn't had a practice in it. I don't think it would hurt for him to actually know both jutsus. It wouldn't hurt at all. No, it wouldn't. I mean, yeah, he knows his dad's jutsu, but he could at least know. It wouldn't hurt for him to know both, so that because as far as I can tell for the Yamachin clan, I have never seen any other. Hardly ever seen a clan people part on the show. I think I've seen one, but the most common thing with this clan is that all the members have got blonde hair, kind of like how the Uzumakis were all redheads. They could also explain why all the people part of I think it was the Hyuga clan. I think all of them have black hair. Yeah, black hair. So each clan basically has a set of hair. I think even the Itachis basically also had black hair as well. Satoru's got black hair. So if you look at Inogen, he looks like his father, but he has his mother's hair, and I think he has his mother's eyes as well. But yeah. So then later on, because he won the drawing contest, she gets to come to class, and everybody even tells Suri like that's Baruto's sister. She's cute. Well, basically, any viewer can tell that Susumori has things for Boruto, kind of like how Hinata had a thing for Naruto when they were younger. So this hints at it, but it's not completely obvious, which I do appreciate that because, yeah, anybody can tell that Susumori is in love with Boruto, but there's hints at it, and of course she's going to play a part in the next episode. So tries out the whole thing of the whole drawing thing, and then later on, basically, Inogen asked Baruto basically for him, he wanted me to sort of teach him for drawing, be a pupil for her, and I'm thinking, Inogen is like 12, 13 years old. Hiwambi is like, I think she's supposed to be 10. Yeah, I think she's supposed to be 10 years old. Yeah, she looks like she's 10. That's my personal guess. I don't know how old she is. I have never looked it up to see how old she is, but she looks like she's about 10 years old. Though, this is a little odd, though, because a lot of the time, whenever she's seen, when Hiwami is seen, anytime, even the Boruto film, she's always seen with Hinata. And this is actually something, because normally, yeah, this is quite normal for her. It's like, wherever she goes, her mother is not far behind. This episode, Hinata was never seen in this episode at all. I mean, yeah, you got a chance to see Naruto, but no Hinata for some reason. That's a little odd. Yeah, that is a little odd. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, teaches how to draw. Basically, even brings and when he tries to learn to draw, basically, and of course she has never seen the Super Beast scroll before. She had never seen it before. She had seen probably her brother's jutsu before, probably his Shutter Clone jutsu, but it's kind of good that he doesn't know the sexy jutsu. Yeah, that would be kind of weird if Boruto picked up that particular habit. Though it's kind of a big question mark exactly who taught him the Shanklo Jutsu, though my theory is that Naruto probably taught it to him probably just before he became Hokage. Yeah. Because if you look at the start of the series, he already knows Shadow Clone Jutsu, and it's by far the only jutsu he knew overall. And then later on, basically during the Hidden Mist arc, he's actually shown using like lightning and water jutsu, like other jutsus, like he mentioned in the Boruto film. Yep. So, excuse me. I'm trying to think though. Yeah. Then the and of course there was some, and the wind blew, and of course Hiwami's drawing of her and Naruto flew away, and of course they went out to go get it, and then somehow Inogen realized he's missing emotion basically when he was bringing his drawings to life, and he drew a giant bird, which is something his father. I mean, the way it looks like one of his old father's drawings. Maybe he drew it. Maybe he kind of knew because he saw his father draw. And normally his drawings, whenever they brought to life, usually they brought to life with different ink colors. Like usually his are like basically they look like they're red or purple. His father's a lot of the time were if I remember, I think a lot of his were white. Yeah, his never technically had color to them, not necessarily, but they generally had this whitish color to them. It's like they're just simple drawing, they're not like colored in like generally how Inogens tend to be. Heck, he even tried at the start of the episode to do something really weird, like he tried to copy stuff at the start of it, and apparently that didn't work either. Heck, even his father was like, why in the world would you do that for? The whole point of the Super Beast was just draw quickly and have things brought to life. Yeah. So he saves her drawing. Of course, that was later in the episode. He saves the drawing with the bird. Then he brings the drawing to life, and then realizes who he's missing. And of course, they show a couple pictures of that he drew when he was younger. One basically of him and his father, and another one with him and his parents on a bird, probably one of his father's birds, which basically reminds him, reminds basically stuff when he was younger. So a good amount of Ino in this episode, which I do appreciate the fact the show actually does this. But a lot of the other characters, it's like, heck, Boruto, if you look at him, with the exception of one small little action scene, he doesn't really do a heck of a lot. He's not even seen very much the episode, which that's generally the case when it comes to these episodes, but sometimes these filler episodes can be kind of funny. But yeah, this episode is kind of funny. Chocho's whole thing about, I get frustrated if I can't open up a bag of potato chips. Yeah, she brings this up a couple times. And it's really odd. At one point, also before, when the first time she brings this up, Inogen actually leaves his stuff behind. Okay, he frustrated for drawing. He could at least clean up. I mean, I get maybe the ink probably disappearing after a while, but he could at least pick up the paper. Yeah, but there's that. Overall, this was a pretty good episode. Oh, there is one thing I've got to bring this up. Second time the show has done this. The show has a post-credit scene. though it's very quick. It's just basically Ino, Jin, and Hiwami just continue drawing. Fine, it's a cute little scene. Ties into the episode, which is fine. The last time I saw this happen was at the end of the Sadara arc, where that was when they revealed that she was going to run for Hokage. She's basically was going to become Hokage. Yeah, so this is the second time in the series we have a post-credit scene. And next week's episode, which is called, I think it's called, I have to look it up here. Okay, next week's episode is Night of the Falling Star. Yeah, that's the name of the next week's episode. Yeah, it just basically, oh yeah, people have no time to hang on anymore because people prepare for graduation exam. So, yeah, this kind of heard basically from the spoilers, basic description of this episode. Yeah, Boruto takes everybody on a championship. I mean, he takes not only like I think even Misuke shows up in this next episode. Yeah, even Sasumari's there too, which this should be interesting. A camping episode. Yeah, this should definitely be interesting. An episode with characters go camping. As far as I know, this has never happened before. This is the first time this actually happened overall in the franchise. And I remember watching a lot of episodes of both Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, and they never done anything like this before. Just like how they never had an episode with the characters went to the beach. That would be interesting. Of course, everybody would be just drooling over seeing like Hinata, Sakura, or Ino in a bikini. Or even Tenten for that matter. You see any girls in a bikini or any girls would be drooling over seeing the male characters in like swimsuits. Yeah, there's that. They probably do for this generation too. They probably do for that one. It's just a theory. They might do it. Who knows? But an episode focused on camping, that should be interesting. And I have gone camping. Camping tends to be pretty fun. Well, that's that. Though in the next episode, they're also looking for a fish. Yeah. But next week's episode does look kind of interesting, which I do appreciate that. So, yeah. For some people, stuff like this may not be interesting. For me, someone who has gone camping, it looks interesting. That's what it is for next week's episode, okay? So, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned next week for Night of the Falling Star, which will be episode 34. Yep. But until then, I will see you all in the next video. Oh, and the next video I'm going to do is another Comic Corner. I have that coming up next, okay? Until then, I will see you there. Bye.